Mr Hobby PS-267. Here's a breakdown and reinstall in case you need to do any maintenance to your new brush. The first thing I'll take off is this coupler on the bottom. This is for canned air kits. So if you don't use anything like that, a standard 1/8 fitting will fit on the bottom of here. So while I'm here, I'll go ahead and remove the air valve components. All you need to do is catch those two little notches on there, on that hold down clip, and give it a little turn with your maintenance tool, and that will pop right off. Be careful when you do so because that spring sometimes will jump right out at you. Once you have access to that spring and remove that, you can take the plunger out. Now if you need to go further, you can just grab some anti-marring pliers and remove that air valve casing. There is an O-ring on the bottom as well. So now that that's out, I'll go to the back of the brush and remove this fluid control knob. This will determine how far back you can move that trigger. I'll just unscrew from the handle like so, allowing you to remove that. They can be removed all at one time though. So once the back handle is off, you'll see the needle and the needle chuck screw. This locks that needle down in place. And if it's not, or something's wrong with it, that needle won't move when you pull that trigger. So just loosen that up, and now you can take the needle out. I'll finish removing that screw and the components of this area here. So this is also your needle tension screw, as well as your guide for your needle chuck. So depending how far in back you put that will determine how much tension is on your trigger when you pull it. So I'll just finish unscrewing that, and now I have access to the needle chuck and needle spring. Now I can take the trigger out. Grabbing another maintenance tool, you can go inside the body here and remove that packing screw if you ever need to do so. If that fails, that's most likely why you have paint all over your finger in this trigger area. So just get that tool in there, give it a few turns, and it usually comes right out. I like to try to get it out on the end of my tool and just leave it there, or replace that little seal that's on there, or clean it. Now I'll take the cover off for the fluid reservoir, and just the front end is left. So I'm removing the protective crown cover for your needle, giving you access to this air cap, and then the nozzle itself. There is a little wrench provided, so be careful with this. Just rest it down and wait till you feel it click on the flat part of that nozzle. And then you can give it a turn. Be careful to not over tighten this when you reinstall it. They're very easily damaged. And that's pretty much it for the breakdown of the PS-267. So if you've noticed, I do like to lay my parts out in some kind of order how I broke it down. That way if it's new to you or you're not too familiar with the brush itself, you kind of know where the parts go when you go to put them back together. So I think I'll start with the packing screw by putting it back inside the body. You just need to re-stab it in there until you feel that little click, and now you can tighten it up. You don't want to over tighten it or have it too loose. You want it on there just enough to provide some tension on the body to not let the paint go back onto your finger. And how you can judge it is by pushing it in and out like so and making sure there's a little bit of tension, but also enough where it doesn't fall out if you do that. If that happens, then it needs to be a little bit tighter. So that felt pretty good. So now we'll go ahead and put my nozzle back on. There are some other tools available out there from the GSI maintenance kit you can use as well. it has a little better tool in there for tightening that nozzle. Turn that till you feel that click, and just very minimal, folks. Just a little turn, metal to metal is all you need. Now I can put the air cap back on and the crown cover. Seems like a good time for your trigger. Now do take note, there is a little indentation on the back. You want that facing towards the back of the brush. Just try to re-stab that lever into the bottom of that air valve shaft. And you can move on to the needle chuck components. Now the skinny part of that lever will go in first, facing upwards towards the back of that trigger. Just rest that there, put that needle spring on. Now you can put that tension screw casing back on to your desired setting. Make sure everything flows freely and there's nothing in a bind, and you're all set to keep moving. Grab your needle chuck screw, put it on just a little bit. That way when you put your needle in, it's a lot easier than putting it through the needle chuck first. This will help guide you and less likely chance of damaging the front of that needle. So just push that in till you feel it stop, and that's good enough. Now just tighten that screw up and make sure everything's functional. Now you can put the back handle back on and your fluid control. I'll put my cover back on, and now we can install the air valve assembly. Grab your air valve casing. The shorter side of the plunger would go in first. Then you just put the spring over top of that shaft and reinstall that hold down ring screw on the bottom. I like to put it back on my tool. It seems to almost have a spring of its own. And then I will try to push it down on the shaft all together. Right, turn it a little bit counterclockwise, you'll feel it catch, and now you can tighten it back up. Give it a little push on that plunger and make sure it's functioning properly, and now you can install it back on the body. The only other thing I took off was this coupler, and now you're pretty much all set as far as working with your PS-267. Hope you enjoy this new brush, and if you don't have one already, get it here at spraygunner.com.